Good morning and welcome to Tuesday on the WFDF 2018 World Ultimate Club Championships. I am Hannah Penderby and I'm joined in the booth this morning by Becky Thompson. How are you doing, Becky?
I am doing absolutely fantastic, Hannah. Happy to be here.
Indeed, on this Wednesday morning. The sun is shining and we have Fusion of Canada versus Iceni of Great Britain. Becky, we've got a bit of a balance in the booth here. You hailing from Canada, myself hailing from Great Britain. Tell me a little bit about how the Canadians have gotten on so far in this tournament.
So the Canadians ended up in what we've called the pool of death throughout this tournament. They had to deal with the likes of Brute Squad, Brilliance, Yaka, Bamboo as well. So an incredibly tough matchup in that pool. They managed to come out third. They went into power pools feeling like they'd had a bit of a good chance to play some tough teams, and that allowed them to dominate in their lower bracket power pool, bringing them into this round of 32 matchup this morning, Hannah.
So do they have any players we want to watch out for as we get the action underway?
We're absolutely going to be looking out for number 2 shirt of Valencerina. Jolie Valencerina, a standout player for this team. She's very young. She played U24 Perth women's national team this year in Australia. She absolutely loves to huck the disc, but she can also do it on the other side. So look for her making those big cuts, coming under and immediately turning to huck it. If she doesn't get open, she will go deep and catch it in the end zone.
Well, we shall be excited to see if Valencerina can come out with that same form today. Early stages, 9 o'clock game, first things. It's quite cool conditions, not really much in the way of breeze. The flags, in fact, at the far end of the field are completely static, whereas we've had some nice shots helping us determine which way the wind's been facing. So over to Iceni. They were in Pool A against the likes of Fury, Japan, Swampyberg, German Seagulls, and the Mexicans Malafama. So I would say a much easier pool of it, Becky, than the pool of death. They finished up second in that pool, which put them obviously in the pool I. Going into power pools, they finished up again second in that, and so they have the harder matchup of Fusion. I think it will be a very even match. We'll look for players. They're new to Iceni's roster this year is Maya Milek, who we saw at the Tom's Tourney final earlier this season, really going to work for Iceni. She's a huge target, got a fantastic wingspan. But Sonia Comenda, who actually herself is a Canadian, would you believe it, Becky? She's going to be a big defensive matchup against the likes of Valencerina. So should be a good one. Should be a good match. Both teams looked pretty good in their warm-ups. How do you reckon we're going to see in terms of offenses and defenses from Fusion, Becky?
I mean, for Fusion, we're definitely going to see their vertical stat come out. They love to play their system. They're a very disciplined team. They rely on their teammates to cut one at a time. So we're going to see them run through the system very evenly, distribute the disc across the field, and obviously we're going to see them go for their huck game, whereas we know Iceni, on the other hand, are going to be putting out a defense to try and stop that huck game here today, Hannah.
Indeed, it will all be about shutting down the hucks. Iceni also a big fan of putting hit into the deep space. Very athletic team, lots of GB experience coming out of the under-24 program that went to Perth in January. So also a late season pickup in the form of Joanna Hamer. She actually plays her ultimate in the UK for deep space, a mixed team. But they took a few injuries, which will have changed things up a little bit. But in terms of what we're going to see from the Iceni squad, just I think having watched them play, they do like to. They've changed the way they view space on the field this year. So hopefully they can go out and attack it. As we'll see the teams line up to get underway. If you're joining us, whether you be in Canada or in the UK or somewhere else, please do get in touch with us. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at WFDF Live handle. You can also find a fantastic media campaign on Instagram from Fusion Ultimate, at Fusion Ultimate, which we'd highly recommend checking out, which has a lovely series called Fusion Hiding from the Sun. So we'll get this one underway with a big backhand pull from Fiona Kwan, one of the captains of the Iceni team. And off to the races, Fusion of Canada. Aitken near sideline. Lovely shot into space that she received. Good centering. And here we see those physical downfield matchups. Most of the flow coming through the handlers right now. Seaman on the disc. She puts it up into space, but that's going to be too far for the, I think, an ambitious layout attempt from Alexa Kovacs there.
Yeah, I think Kovacs knew she wasn't quite getting to that, but it is, you never know sometimes with a little bit of breeze, something can catch it, it can hang up. Again, we've said it once already, there's not that much wind here today, so maybe not the chance you want to take right at the start of the game.
But good smothering defense there from Iceni. They'll be pleased with that for sure. High stall just flat back, and like you say, could have hung in the wind if we'd been in yesterday. We see a put from Maya Milek to Randy Burns. Oh, and she's going to read that excellently. Defensive pressure, but not able to just get on it. Karen Kwok, another shot to Burns, and that is a breaker score right out the blocks for Iceni.
I think that's a great first break here for Iceni as well. They've really taken advantage of the turn that Fusion gave them, going right away for that huck, extremely well read and brought down under the pressure of Fusion defender Catherine Poran as well. And Fusion there, they tried to switch on their defense. It didn't actually work, allowed the Iceni player to still get wide open in the end zone for that great around backhand.
Well, the players from London will be ideally positioned, and they'll be very pleased to have gotten that first break of score. A perfect defensive conversion to start the game. Now obviously we'll have another opportunity as we see Valence Arena take the line with coach Mark Lloyd squatting in front. Obviously a very experienced player coming out of the Canadian ultimate scene. He's unfortunately suffered an injury. He's playing with General Strike in the men's division here at this tournament. But unfortunately had a little bit of a, what was it he said, Becky? How did he injure himself?
A torn arch. He stomped down very hard after a jump.
So, but he's got plenty to keep him busy, coaching Fusion and General Strike. No buys for him on this day of play. So Fusion now shooting to the left. They've got a vertical stack going. And there's a sort of an unforced error there, just a miscue throw, but a high stall situation. So tricky nonetheless, as Hannah Brew will pick up the disc and take the super dump. Again, we see movement generated through the handler set for Iceni as well as for Fusion. Morales finds Yen. Yen So will put it up for Hannah Body. That's going to be a tough read and excellent boxing from Jolie Valence Arena.
Looks like that boxing has caused a little bit of a foul call there as well. Unsure about whether either of those players actually had a read on the disc in that particular situation, though.
I take it back, that was Verals in the end zone there. That's one of the favoured targets for Iceni. They'll put a lot up to her and just expect her to come down with it. So, Fusion, second chance to take their first point in this game. Big deep shot coming. Catherine Gainey's on the attack and she gets the block on the number 4, Alexa Kovacs. That one sat for far too long, Becky.
Yeah, Catherine Poran putting up that big backhand huff there. Just aired it out a little too much float. That one needed to be in space ahead of her receiver.
So another chance for a break again. This one instead will find the outstretched hand of Verals. Just a tiny bit extra stature over Valence Arena. Opportunity now. Shot goes up into the back of the end zone and Hannah Body will receive. That's 2 breaks in a row for Iceni.
interesting for Fusion as well here, Hannah. They've decided to keep the same line on who couldn't score in that first point of the game, who were broken in that first point. Now a second break in a row. I'm not sure what that does for the confidence of a team at this point.
Well, the British players will be delighted to have taken their second break in a row to open this game. And as you say, Becky, will be so important now how Fusion answer the call Iceni have put out. They are very much awake and looking very good on defense. That's 2-1, well, 1 turnover for Iceni and 2 turnovers for Fusion in that point. Not unsurprising to see 2 lines coming out, I think, from an O-line perspective, and we did see some of the bigger players, likes of Kovacs and Valencerina, coming out to start this game. Perhaps maybe Becky, with the having had the pool of death, so to speak, and having had the already quite big matchups and success against a lot of teams here at this tournament, but do you think Fusion have maybe come out a tiny bit complacent?
I think Fusion have come out expecting a little bit of an easier start to this game. It looks like they've expected to show up here, knowing they had some hard matchups again, like you said, in the pool of death, and feeling like at least that they had the confidence saying, we can just play our game. But Iceni have come out here, on the other hand, with I think the exact same sense of confidence. They know what they can accomplish, and they're using those really, really well-timed deep strikes into the end zone, not worrying too much about cutting to the inside lane, not trying to go too close to the corner, but they're striking deep into the end zone, and that's allowing them to get open on these Fusion players.
So perhaps beating Fusion at their own game in terms of favouring the deep. As we see a long shot just now of Maya Malek, actually a player hailing from Denmark, having joined Iceni for this World Championship campaign. But certainly all important. Fusion need to get on the board. We've seen teams go down to deficits out of the bat, and I don't doubt that they could have a comeback. They're a very athletic team. They've got a heck of a lot of depth. They brought 25 players to this tournament, and certainly that's paid off for them previously, taking yesterday's games, very strong second halves, 8-1 and 7-3 respectively. But they'll have to go to work in the first half here. They will have a chance of getting into the championship bracket. Nice stalls. Again, power being generated from cuts from the handlers. Malek will swoop that one up though and find Commander near sideline. The lefty hand of Deniston. Centers to Commander, who will take her time. Finds Kwan to Squawk. Not much movement upfield right now. No one's really cutting. But Malek eventually does. Thinks about the big backhand across to the far side to Deniston. Chooses the inside, which sails past the fingertips of Commander.
Yeah, a bit of an unfortunate turn there for Iceni. They were working up the disc so well.
And we'll see some contact here, an uncontested foul. A poor disc though there, Becky. That one, I'm not sure that would have been in reach of being in bounds.
Yeah, again, a tough call to make when the disc isn't quite in your reach, whether or not you could actually make a play on that disc. Always good to see a discussion between the players here as well.
So we'll have a discussion from these two. There's a foul on the throw as well. We didn't quite catch.
So now that would make sense why it was going so far out of bounds, wouldn't it?
So double foul, both sides of the disc. Uncontested, certainly in the upfield. Catch of the ankle, I think they had a little clatter. We'll see Commander and Carmen Lee having a little discussion. So uncontested fouls on both sides. Nice swing to the far sideline. And a big put's gonna go up. into the hands of Laura Hatch. Reset comes. Oh, a little inside flick, very tasty. Pressure on, but unfortunately can't come up with the goods. And that'll be a lovely score. First hold in this game in by number 5, Casey Hunt.
Yeah, and that's the cleanest offense that we've seen so far from Fusion here today. Really working it up the field, pushing it to that break side as well. And once they had the huck on the break side, it was like the whole play opened up in front of them. A bit unfortunate for Iceni. They had the disc about 15 yards out of the end zone, chance to make it a 3-0 lead. Threw it away. Fusion, in this case, taking advantage.
Well, I have to say, Becky, I'm quite pleased that Iceni weren't able to take that third break. Only for virtue of, I want to see a tight and close game. Comebacks are always exciting, but I just much prefer to see Fusion come out, because we saw some fantastic play for them earlier on the live stream. Their game against Bamboo was pretty great.
Yeah, and that was one where we started to see a late comeback actually made by Bamboo as well. They were down 14-10, made a run back to make it 14-13, couldn't tie it back up. But amazing play from both teams in that game as well.
Still very early stages in this game. 87 minutes left on the clock, so plenty of time for these teams to tussle it out in the elimination bracket. They find Gainey in the center of the field. This is much better defense from Fusion. Everyone going to the end zone. Verrills will track that down in body position. It's going to be perhaps a foul call. Big cluster of players. You saw 3 strikes deep there, and the disc still got thrown. Yeah. Let's get another look at that. Yeah, you see that big cluster of players. It was a bit of a push-off, I think, from the hand of Casey Hunt into the back shoulder of Verrills.
Yeah, it definitely looked like she got her 2 hands out, maybe even just to slow herself down, but if you do put your hands into the back of another player, that's going to be a foul every single time. Yeah, you can see on that shot as well, both hands from Casey Hunt going into the back of the Iceni player. Just maybe caused her to stop her momentum and stopped her ability to jump right in the moment that she wanted to in order to catch that disc. So it does look like on the field, though, it will be contested, so disc will return.
So the hands of captain, 84, Karina Cooper. She's going to find Robry in the far right corner. And that is a score for Iceni, their first O-line hold of the game.
What an incredible shot there from Cooper as well. Absolutely no hesitation. I think she knew what she wanted to do from the moment that that disc came back to her hands and executed it perfectly.
Well, a lovely shot. 3-1 Iceni. Robry with the score. We'll be back after this short break.
Catch it early. Help us teach kids about cancer symptoms through Ultimate Frisbee clinics. Join us and speak up.
Welcome back to sunny Cincinnati. We're here at the Lebanon, Ohio Sports Complex as we see action from the women's round of 32. Elimination play underway as we see Iceni of Great Britain versus Fusion from Canada. Iceni up 2 breaks, coming straight out the blocks. And Fusion with their first offensive hold under the belt. Looking for another now as they find a bit of momentum in this game. So near sideline, Kovacs. Tries to send it to Lee, but has to choose Soccer Seaman. Oh, nice centre. Valence Arena, the player we've spoken so much about already in this game. With a match with the number 29, Sophie Wharton. One of the big layout D generating players for Iceni. Sometimes a bit of a hot-headed D-line player. Not always choosing the safest options on offense, but Fusion doing exactly that. This is all looking very safe. Marks are very on the shoulder, but choosing smart options, and that's a lovely little flick into the near corner to Kovacs.
Yeah, you see the combination there of Valence Arena and Kovacs going 1 and 2. Valence Arena, confidence to hit that in such a narrow gap as well up the sideline. You see her get open on this replay here, calling for the disc, and barely hesitates as she sees Kovacs streak up the line into that narrow space for the score.
Well, that's a lot of trust displayed there between Valence Arena and Kovacs. Definitely happy to put it out in front in that teeny tiny space.
Yeah, and that's definitely an important hold as well here from Fusion, Hannah. I think that going down 4-1 is definitely not the start you want to a game, although we did see yesterday Revolution down 4-1. They managed to come back to win 15-10 over Molly Brown. And let's not forget as well, the winner of this game will face Revolution in the pre-quarters, so that's what's on the line here right now.
Yes, a much needed win for both sides. They'll be desperate to keep the dream alive, although I think Becky pointing out the fact that they'll be facing off against the ladies of Medellin, Colombia. It's going to be a tricky one to win for pretty much anyone at this tournament. Revolution are looking indomitable. Their win over Molly Brown yesterday was intense, as you say, coming back from so far behind at the early start. Plenty of money for the highlight reel off the back of that game. So, see if we can generate a little bit more in this game now. Gainey on the disc. Sends it around to Hannah Brew. Oh, and there's a streaking run-through block from Kayla Mooney. Fusion with an opportunity here to take one of those breaks back. Finds her around. Good Hannah-generated movement, and that's a great score from Anya Snyder, using speed to just churn up the line.
Yeah, Amy Lamb putting that one out into space. Those two players played together on the mixed team at U24s this year in Perth as well. They know each other very well. You can see Amy Lamb sees Anya Snyder streaking across the front of her, throws it into space to run onto. No bid required. Absolutely perfect throw there as well. And Fusion finally showing a little bit of spark on defense as well here.
And that's the play that started it all for that nice little channel of offense. Very smooth. Such power. So, Fusion respond with their first break of the game. Iceni now leading just by the one break. All still to play for.
Yeah, and you see the same line here from Fusion as well. Definitely knowing that line was able to generate the chemistry and the spark that we've been talking about that they needed on defense to get this break. So keeping the same line out there as well, I really like that decision.
Indeed, and that was a very short point, so no argument for saying take him off on the grounds of fatigue. As we see Iceni's O-line. Commander Handler juking. Oh, and a push pass from the leg over the top. Not sure I like that choice of throw. You could have just thrown a lofty backhand pop. And a defender caught sleeping, but that's going to be a miscued throw with no force whatsoever. Costly error, tipping out the fingertips of Sarah Norton, who had to go up big to try and rescue that. So we'll see if Fusion could replicate the smothering defense. Once again in this point, Milek not able to find much in the way of separation from her mark. Sarah Norton. A little juggle. Good composure. Good take. And a shot's going to go up. Trust is given to Milek, but sails way further than intended. Scooped up by Karen Hatch. So another opportunity for a break for Fusion, which will bring this one back on serve. Ooh, nice snag. Keeps it alive with a knee slide. There's a cut that goes deep. I thought it had been looked off. Pressure from Kwok, but well received. Hatch knocking on the doorstep of the end zone. We see that upline cut again into the space. Oh, and that's a very nice around throw.
Karen Hatch there, no worries on a throw like that, making those break shots, and Fusion really do like to cut to the break side. We're seeing them do it throughout the field and into the end zone as well. Credit to Fusion here, they've started to tighten up their defense. They're really focusing on taking away those unders, and it caused some miscommunications there. Milek started to make her cut back under, and her thrower had already put it up deep. So a little bit of tighter defense, some adjustments made here by Fusion, and now we see Iceni taking a timeout, trying to regroup, maybe stop their momentum.
I think that's exactly what Iceni are trying to do. Take a little pause, and as you say, it's lovely to see the defense of Fusion just really tighten up, just, as I say, smothering Iceni's offense. That push pass from Milek was a controversial choice. As I said at the time, I think perhaps she's got such long arms, she could, you know, just throw in a more normal throw, should we say. Something with a bit of more spin on it that might have had a chance to have been caught and a little bit better.
Yeah, and that's a case where you really just need to get your fakes involved as well. You shouldn't have to resort in the middle of the field to throwing those unpredictable and not consistent throws. Throwing in that big fake, we just saw Anya Snyder do it, faking off the flick huck, goes for the backhand. Milek just needing maybe to be a little bit more confident in her ability to break that mark.
Well, the huck from Fusion was certainly a late one. Bit of a 50-50 pass. There was a defender on it, but Iceni, I think, suddenly not looking at their deep shots, which I think is a controversial choice. They were quite effective with those early stages in the game. Well, I say early stages, we're still very early. And at 4-3 to Fusion.
We're back on serve here as well. Back to where this game started. Iceni now needing to tighten up a little bit. The way they came out with such fire at the start of this game, absolutely dominated those first 2 points as well. So just need to take a deep breath here as well and work back into their system. They were shutting down those deep opportunities from Fusion so well early on as well.
So as you say, Becky, back on serve as we see Kwok on the disc, one of 2 Kwok sisters on the Iceni roster, Karen and Joyce will overthrow Hannah Body. She lets her body hit the floor but doesn't put her hands around the disc. So Fusion, opportunity for their first break to go ahead. Casey Hunt, far sideline. She's going to center into the number 88, Bailey Jablonski-Armstrong. Forrest. Oh, nearly a hand from the defender. Burridge considering upfield shots. Big backhand around. Very well placed. Hunt Swings, and there's a miscued throw from Fusion.
That's the kind of pressure that Iceni wanted to generate coming out of that timeout as well, really shutting down those resets there.
So Cooper finds Robry in the middle. Back to Cooper. Captain Jackie Verrills. But Lowe gets there first. Back to Cooper. Hand of Kovacs goes in. Doesn't come up with the goods. Nice inside to the center of the field. This is good flow from Iceni. So, with a red zone opportunity. Doesn't find any resets, but finds Karina Cooper up the line to take it to 4 apiece.
Cooper there as well controlled the flow of that point for Iceni. Completely roasts her defender here as well as she goes up line. But Iceni starting to figure out their flow, getting a better rhythm here in this point as well. You can see the way they move on the field. They're all clearing into the stack quickly, the way that they should, as if they were cutting back into that stack. There isn't any jogging happening on the field right now for Iceni. They're cutting with purpose here.
Well, jogging you do not want to see in this game from either side. Ever so important for that final placement as we're in bracket play. No more pools and, you know, relying on anybody else to, you know, surmount an opponent that you fell to. It's all on the team's performance in this game. So, even score for both teams. But it's, as you say, nice to see Iceni looking a little bit confident coming into that point. As we see Claire Baker and Karen Kwok on the shot right now. Claire Baker, we talked about the fact that some of the players on this pitch played in Perth. She was one of those, one of the captains for the women's side. And one of the other people who played for Perth perhaps sat in the booth right next to me.
Possible.
Well, you are rocking that Canada shirt beautifully today, Becky. Oh, and a lack of focus from Seaman. Just falling to the floor, thinking about the throw, I think. So opportunity for Iceni. Kwok isolated in the space. Pick call. Perhaps Baker getting a bit of a clip off the back of the stack as she made that near side cut. This will come back in early. Nice release point. And that's a score for Joanna Hamer.
Great play here from Iceni as well. That break side cut at the front of a stack can be so deadly if done correctly as well. Cutting hard to the open side and back to the break side. At that point, it's just a straight throw for your thrower as well. And that beautifully executed here by Iceni.
Well, what was not executed very well was the just sheer drop from Fusion. Unfortunate to see. They came out of this game, into this game, sorry, not really looking like they'd had their breakfast, you know? They didn't look like they'd eaten. They were talking to us saying they're powered by noodles. Perhaps they couldn't find some breakfast ramen in their hotel with its lack of power and apparently lack of water on the first day they arrived. But Fusion not looking as strong as we have seen them previously in this tournament. Certainly their D-line is fired up and ready to go. Lack of focus, Becky. You can't be doing that in this game right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. They need to tighten up their systems, have a little bit more energy and confidence as well. Starting off a bit slow, and maybe also first time that they're really seeing a team that's very evenly matched to them.
Well, we do have a good battle on our hands as Iceni will use a bit of zone defense, changing the look. We've had some miscues on throws for Fusion, so a defense designed to make them throw plenty of passes is no bad thing. As we see some good passing between the handlers. Punctures through to Aiken. Centre back to Lee. Shot's going to go up. And that is great separation from the legs of Catherine Poran. Getting far away from Vanessa Lowe.
That was really interesting to watch the way Fusion immediately adapted to the melt there from Iceni as well. As soon as that transition came, you saw the likes of Kaya Sok-Seaman there streaking deep from the handler position. Catherine Poe ran right away as well. They took advantage of that transition and they punished them for it.
And a nice simple shot. Easily read and far, far away from the hands of the defender. So, ties it back up, 5 apiece, as we see Fusion of Canada versus Iceni of Great Britain. We expected a fairly evenly matched game here, Becky, and I think we've got one on our hands.
Yeah, and we spoke to Iceni before this game. They talked a lot about the importance of individual matchups and the focus of that for this game. We've really seen some great battles so far on this field, players going head to head and shutting down. We haven't really heard so much from the likes of Jolie Valencerina in this game. They've really watched what she's done previously in this tournament, and they've managed to take her out of this game so far.
Yeah, Valencerina, it's one of the slight drawbacks of being an exceptionally big name player who's very, very good with the disc, is that you end up with the hardest matchups all week long. But as you say, I see you doing a great job of shutting those down. As we'll see a zone look, a Fusion zone, which causes a miscue for Iceni. McCarthy not able to catch it. Hatch. The break. Was that all open side there, Becky?
I think there may have been some miscued forces there. Hannah, couple players there not quite getting to their mark in time, making it look like a backhand force when I think they were supposed to get onto that flick side. We see the mark on the sideline there on Sefefri was a flick force.
So another look at this end zone shot. Perhaps a bit of a strip call. It's a bit interesting, always difficult on strip calls to see if there's possession established.
Yeah, and you gotta remember, it's not just touching the disc and feeling like you had a catch on it. You have to stop rotation of that disc for it to be a strip. So very hard to see from this angle as well.
Or is it a foul call, perhaps? Either way, Commander and Snyder both attacking ferociously. As we mentioned earlier, Commander, a Canadian herself, having previously played for the Capitals.
Yeah, the Capitals, a very dominant team out of Ottawa, Toronto regions. Folded a few years ago, have turned into this incredible Sixers program now that we're seeing here this week, Hannah.
So, violation call on the field. Disc will come back. And players will re-establish their original positions. So back in the action, opportunity. Beckons, and that's an inside shot, effectively finding the player in the end zone. So a break of score there for Fusion. They claw another one back to bring it back on serve. Fusion 6, Iceni 5. We'll once again see that shot. We'll be back very shortly.
If you want to be a high performer, eat like one. Start with a balanced diet and drink plenty of water. Good nutrition is one of the best ways to boost your mental and your physical health.
Welcome back to the action here at the fields of the Lebanon Sports Complex. We have a showcase battle for you right now as we see Iceni of Great Britain take on Fusion of Canada. 3 breaks apiece as we see Iceni look to hold their offense. And the anchor of Karina Cooper getting underway. So, good flow from Iceni. He's not able to take away the unders. Verrills in the shot, but a poor throw from Rowbury. Gets eaten up by the defenders. And a big shot. Hannah Brew's got eyes on it, but a closing speed. And a call on the play.
Yeah, Sarah Norden just running down that disc. Maybe a little bit of contact as she came through to make that grab. Just 1 foot into the end zone as well. Regardless of the call here, Hannah, that's a very incredible athletic play that we just saw.
Yeah, she churned up yards towards that disc. Actually, sort of almost looked like Brew wasn't particularly attacking it. There's going to be an uncontested foul. She did, I think, go through the back a little bit of Brew.
Always good to see those discussions resolved very quickly with the players as well there.
We'll see the game advisors just coming in to give a little guidance. A turnover. And Brew will pick up. As we see Iceni set up isolation of Catherine Gainey near side. Again, so covered out of the hands of Cooper, but max it into Hannah Body. And she'll find Jackie Verrills. Doesn't like much of what she sees upfield. Body gets the separation. Up to Cooper, that's a very big shot, but the big hand of the New Zealand player will find Joanna Rowbury for the score and the offensive hold.
The vision there as well from Cooper to hit Rowbury on the break side all the way across the end zone. Absolutely, I mean, visionary is the only word for it, Hannah, but these teams, especially Iceni here as well, going to the break side most of the time that they're throwing these shots into the end zone, and it's really paying off for them. They're getting that separation, knowing that the ability of their throwers like Cooper to make those shots as well.
And Cooper, a very tall player, as I briefly mentioned there. She actually started playing Ultimate in her home nation of New Zealand, so a Kiwi coming across to London. She's actually got a partner here at this tournament we saw yesterday on the live stream. Adam Lothian of Black Sheep, who put some, they're both very excellent throwers. And Cooper using her stature to release that one nice and high over the defender's shoulder. But pointing out the use of the break side, Becky, I think that's very apt, but both teams athletic, and that when they're taking something away, you can't doubt that they're going to go and get there first, so you do have to put it on the break side to try and get that extra inch of separation. This is a game of inches right now, as we see it tied up 6 apiece. Fusion with the disc. Let's work here. Oh, good physical defense there from Wharton on Valence Arena. Good shutdown matchup. Wharton coming under. Finds in the centre, Burns on the far side. Burns is going to put it up very high. Wee bit of contact, but all good. I think that was just a miscued throw, and Kovacs happy to go and clean that up.
Yeah, throw into a lot of pressure there.
A little bit of a call. Violation being signalled. Excellent use of WFDF hand signals there. Big fan of those. One of our other commentators, Liam Grant, and I were having a discussion as to whether it was a hands open or hands closed post. But hands open was the, like a gymnast. So, Fusion Another chance at their offensive hold. Lofty shot, but no defenders willing to come through. Furious fakes. But Poran looks a bit frustrated on the sideline. She will put a nice shot, though, on a high stall into the hands of Alexa Kovacs.
Yeah, not too many options there left. I think she was actually looking for the handler cut of Carmen Lee going upfield. Shot that one too far in front of her, but Alexa Kovacs well positioned herself in the end zone to come in and make that grab.
And there we'll see Alexa Kovacs getting double happiness, heaping on the pressure onto the shoulders of Karen Kwok. And that's a great high stall throw. It's really impressed me about Fusion, actually, Becky. Both teams are getting each other to fairly high counts in terms of the stall. And I really favour Fusion shots. Those, you know, bailout throws, punching it forward into, you know, into space. They've been very effective, whereas Iceni, when they're under pressure, they're throwing smaller balls and not executing them very well.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Iceni really needs to find a way to clean that up, but also, you know, when you're playing a team that's playing such tight and pressured defense, which we're seeing from both of these teams right now in such a close game with so much on the line, you've got to find a way to help your teammates out when it does get to those high stall count situations. You've got to be able to play heads up like the way Alexa Kovacs just did in that end zone.
So Iceni now will respond with a high release backhand from Cooper. Once again using her height. Big put goes out to Vanessa Lowe, but it is extremely well read. But conservation of greatness there. Sarah Norton, great defensive play, and then turfs it. And Jackie Verrills will capitalise on that error. Iceni holding their offense to tie it back up at 7 apiece.
Yeah, credit to Iceni there for taking advantage quickly of that situation and that turnover as well. They didn't hesitate to go pick up the disc, strike to the end zone for the score, tied it right back up. A little bit unfortunate there for Sarah Norton. She did such a good job to get to that D and bring it down, just maybe rushing it, trying to move the disc a little too quickly there.
Yes, Sarah Norton, great defensive play, but she'll, I think, hopefully she'll have a little giggle as she's watching this back. Sarah, if you're watching us back on a replay, hope you're enjoying our commentary. And if you are enjoying live our commentary, please do get in touch with us.
Yeah, and Sarah Norton, only a player who's actually been playing Ultimate for about 2 years, Hannah, as well. She's very new to the game, made the under-24 women's national team in her second year playing Ultimate, and has dominated with her deep game and her defense. Some of those throws and maybe rushing those choices are still going to come, but she has had a very breakout year this year.
Well, a young player, but one to watch for the future, definitely. As we see Galaxy Point getting underway now. Seaman, center of the field. Again, we'll see Fusion looking for this near side, slightly deeper space. Not a full huck, but certainly great leading passes have been very effective for their offense by stacking players towards the far side. Aitken in the middle. Finds Kovacs, who considers the upfield. Is going to need to find a reset, which she does. Seaman. Over to Lee. Aitken with a great pressure matchup from Milek. Kovacs puts it up into the hands of Porain. Flat one out into the space, but far too far, even for the likes of the rapid Jolie Valenciarina, who had double coverage there, Becky.
Yeah, they've really focused on taking her out of this game, and successfully. Sophie Warden has done a phenomenal job of shutting her down, taking away all of her undercuts, putting enough pressure on her back. And in this situation, she appeared open. There was help defense, and Poran just maybe forcing that option a little bit, thinking that Valenciarina was more open than she was.
And Valenciarina taking away the opposite side, shutting down Wharton deep. So you see Millet going up the line. Oh, and that's a lovely full stretch layout, keeping the disc alive. Valuable point now. at Galaxy, but she's going to do much the same as we saw from Sarah Norton last point. Conservation of greatness. And so Fusion respond. Deep shot goes up to Aitken. Going to be run down. Layout opportunity, but just sails past her hands. And we'll see Aitken just recomposing herself. Arm goes up and she's going to signal an injury. That's a shame. She's been very, very lethal for Fusion thus far.
Yeah, just misses the disc from her outstretched fingertips. Absolutely horizontal to the ground there. And I think she just hit a little hard, a little whiplash. You see her holding her head after the play as well. So maybe just a little bit of that hard ground when you fly that high can be quite brutal on your neck and your head.
And teammate Parker will come in. Emma Parker not playing this game, having taken an injury herself. But, hopefully we'll see Aitken back on the field. For anyone having whiplash though, the whip of her hair in the sunlight was a glorious visual.
It was, wasn't it? We see her on the sideline as well. She's just taking a couple puffs out of a puffer, maybe just winded too. So hopefully we'll see her back soon.
Indeed, she'll be replaced as Iceni with an error on their own end zone. Oh. And a prime opportunity now for Fusion. Still be on serve if they score this. Bringing the momentum as we see a complete defensive miscue. Captain Fiona Kwan there looking very dejected as she realizes her error in leaving Casey Hunt wide open to take the half.
In both of these teams, if you're gonna leave a player wide open, they have the throwers to take advantage of it. We've seen it throughout this first half here.
So that is 8-7 to Fusion in this women's elimination round. We'll be back very shortly after this.
There is a place where we are us at our best.
A place where everyone is welcome,
regardless of age, shape, skin color, or anything else that tries to box people in.
A place where we defy the odds.
And even defy gravity.
a place that knows grit, knows grace, knows bright lights, and knows empty bleachers.
A place where we remember to laugh.
Where we learn to trust, and eventually, even learn to fly.
A place where character, community, and competition
are all as balanced as a disc in flight.
That place isn't in a stadium or on a field.
That place is in the spirit of our players.
Because we don't just play Ultimate, we live Ultimate.
Welcome back to halftime here in this women's elimination game. We have London's Iceni and Winnipeg's Fusion on serve currently. Fusion leading 8-7 as we see them find a bit of shade. As we mentioned earlier, Fusion Ultimate with an excellent social media campaign. Their Instagram series of Fusion hides from the sun. They are currently doing that right now, sitting under the little gazebos next to us. So to talk a little bit about their play that's been out in the hot sun, Becky, we've seen great plays from them so far.
Yeah, we absolutely have. We saw them go down 2-0 right at the start of this game. They've managed to climb their way back in, getting their own breaks, and we're on serve here still now going out into the second half. They've really worked the break side of the field throughout the middle of the field. Once they get it to that break side, they're opening up into these hucks and these cuts to the end zone as well. So we're starting to see them find that flow. But Iceni as well, needing to tighten up on a little bit of that defense. We saw them do it right at the start of the game, and they're taking out certain players, so we'll see what they can bring out in the second half.
So certainly a game of inches. So 8-7, currently the score to Fusion in the lead. We'll be back very shortly with more after this. welcome back at the action here on the showcase fields on this bright and sunny morning. Round 1 of play here at the fields in Lebanon. As we see the flags being caressed, let's take a look at some more of the action from the first half. It's definitely been some sensational puts, Becky, but I think for Fusion it's been early errors that saw that 2-break lead from Iceni, and they had to respond with defensive blocks like that from the hand of Kayla Mooney and Alexa Kovacs.
You see that huge grab there from Iceni as well. The help heads-up play that Fusion has been able to deliver as well. This beautiful around backhand into space for Anya Snyder. Flawless play there from both teams that we've seen on offense.
Certainly been beautiful scenes. We'll see what the second half can bring us as we continue this elimination round match.
Catch it early. Help us teach kids about cancer symptoms through Ultimate Frisbee clinics. Join us and speak up.
No kid should have an overuse injury. Limit young ones to 1 sport per season, save sport specialization for later, and cross-train with your kids. Parents and kids will both benefit.
The sun is bright, the breeze is cooling, but the play here in this match has been oh so very hot. We have Fusion of Canada versus Iceni from Great Britain facing off, currently on serve. It's been a game of breaks and breaks back, Becky. What have you enjoyed most so far?
I think I've enjoyed most the deep shots that both teams have taken, especially early in that first half. We saw the likes of Karina Cooper sitting up perfect flick hucks into the near side of the end zone, into space as well for her receivers. And then the shutdown defense that we've seen from both teams start to come out in the second half. It was a bit shaky at the start. They had some trouble figuring it out, but those individual matchups and those battles, like the one with Valence Arena and Warden, absolutely a pleasure for us to watch.
And it is still very much anyone's game at this stage. 45 minutes remain on the clock as we will look to get play back underway very shortly. Both teams in shot right now. So much athleticism we've seen on this pitch. But coming into the second half, Becky, I don't know about you, but I would like to see both teams just really erase, like, tidy up, polish off their offense. Because we've seen a lot of unforced errors. As much as players have been going out and getting blocks, the lack of focus, especially from Fusion, because that has been a number of turns that have come off the back of, you can see, just not focusing on getting the disc into their hands before they're thinking about the upfield shots. And that's, you know, that's basic errors. You can't be doing that at the World Club Championships. We'd expect better.
Yeah, absolutely. Just need to clean it up a little bit, and I'm sure that's what Coach Mark Lyde has been talking to them about during halftime as well. Clean it up, hit the 100% option before they look for the big shot as well.
As we see Coach Mark Lloyd there in his wonderful sun hat. Big name player coming out of the Canadian scene, imparting wisdom now to his team as they come out on defense in this second half. And so, as he trots off the pitch, we hear from the sideline Iceni getting their team revved up by shouting. If you're cheering along too, please do get involved on the Twitter. We are at WFDF Live. That's where you can communicate with us in the booth. And we have a smattering of fans here set around this field in the stands. Wind having really picked up now. You can see at the back of that shot, flags waving in the breeze. definitely be impactful on this game where the hucks have been so valuable. We see one right out the bat from the brick mark. That'll be well read by Joanna Robry. We'll find a release valve in the hands of Jackie Verrills. Going to immediately put it up, finds low, near side, tiptoes it in and celebrates the score.
That's a flawless point there from Iceni. Joanna Robry has had an outstanding game so far, Hannah. She's scored several goals now, and she's managed to get herself into those positions to get herself open and reading that huck perfectly. And now we're seeing Iceni start to move a little bit to the open side as well. I like that shot into the end zone.
Yes, Robry is having a great game, as to be expected. One of the veterans of Iceni, as we see two younger players, well, only in comparison to Robry. We see one of the actually rookies there on the left-hand side of your shot, Becca Jones. I can't resist the call out to Becca, as I actually captained her. Well, so she's from the captains of my own program, my home team, Kent Touch This, coming out the University of Kent over in Canterbury, back in the UK. So she is dear to my heart, and also hails from my own hometown, would you believe? So, but Robry certainly not a stranger to a World Championship tournament. So expect to see big things from her continuing through this game as Fusion now come out on offense in the second half for the first time. Again, you see them setting up far sideline to attack this near side space, which has been working for them well. Burns getting back up quickly from an attempted bid. Commander making Lee have to use the very edge of her fingertips to reel that one in. Finds Kovac centre field. More shut down from Wharton as they find Seaman far side. Really great downfield coverage as we see a pit call. Aitken dragging Joanna Hamer through the stack. As we hear through our headsets, Jackie Verrills commanding the defense to take away the deeps and push the players of Fusion under as we get within shooting distance of the end zone. Excellent defensive coverage. The around's going to sail too far for Jolie Valencerina, and yet again we see that Wharton matchup being oh so effective. So Iceni, opportunity to take a break coming out the second half. This far sideline. All the action happening up there. Doesn't like the around. A little bit static from Iceni. Big lefty backhand from Comenda. It's going to be ripped out the sky by the hands of Layla Denniston. And that is a break of score for Iceni, as Becky Thompson in the booth looks very frustrated indeed next to me.
I'm not totally sure about that decision there from Iceni. Comenda throwing that up into coverage as well, not waiting for the stack to be fully set. I think that cut there from Dennison, a clearing cut to the back of the stack. But that is what they say, you clear the way you cut, you clear as if you should be getting the disc, and that is what worked out here for Iceni.
And you see the two defenders, double coverage, but just enough separation for Dennison as she goes up nice and early with the single-handed grab and rips it out of the sky. So that's the first break in the second half going in favor of Iceni, same as in the first half, although it was obviously the first point did go on serve, so they're now ahead 9-8, which they'll certainly need to hold on to for dear life. Fusion will come back and respond, I am sure. so Iceni's D-line will come out once more to try and do everything they can to stop the offense of Fusion. As we see in a horizontal stack look. Good movement generated from the handlers. Great rundown from Lee there to disc in space. Oh, Gainey has a look at it. Into the hands of Kovacs, no problem. Seaman far side to Lee. Commands Seaman to clear. To leave Hatch available. Lee looking very patient right now, demanding the options from downfield. Poran finds Seaman. Back to Poran after a little stumble under near collision. Good movement from the Hatch. Static stack. Cuts well covered by Iceni. As a little switch happens. And Lee's going to put it up into space. That's going to sit for a long time. But excellent body work from Casey Hunt to make sure she brings that one home safely.
Yeah, and like you said there, Hannah, very static stack for the most part, but well done to Fusion. They worked their resets. They always had somebody coming back for the reset, and they finally had that cut to the open side from Hunt when they really needed it.
You see great reading skills there. She brought her library card to this tournament for sure. What I really like, Becky, is the way the handlers are being very patient, but also quite demanding, commanding the cuts around. We saw an instance of that where the handler on disc commanded the central handler to go up so that the clear could come through. Notice the separation. And very effective. So, tying it back up, Iceni one break ahead. We'll see their O-line come out now. But still so very, very tight.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we expected from this game, so it's always good to see this battle come out. 9-9 game, everything on the line still.
And plenty of time left, 35 minutes on the clock. Which is delightful for us because we're getting some fantastic action here as the sun starts to rise and beat down. Zone look from Fusion, 2 players deep, 2-person cup being moved around by Iceni's handlers as Commendable will throw a cheeky scuba to Milek. Burns in the middle looking rather static, but has Kwan in space. Baker now puts it in front of Kwan. Has Milek. Fusion smartly allowing Milek the unders. Knowing that she's so powerful for Iceni deep. Pop out to space, well received by Kwan. Fusion pushing Iceni to make negative passes backwards. Milek thinks about the big backhand, but great mark. Handler's nice and patient. Under lots of pressure from Fusion. Both defenses for each team really shutting down the downfield. So they find a sneaky inside to Milek. Considers the option of Denniston, all alone in the end zone. We're going to see Iceni get frustrated. Oh, an inside flick. That is a beautiful piece of work from Karen Kwok. That point was all about the inside flick, and the finishing one, it's a really hard throw to make.
Yeah, absolutely. Incredible patience by the entire Iceni handling core here as well. They didn't have those upfield options. They worked it until this opportunity for Kwok opened up, perfectly executed. The defender had no chance of making a play on it, but they really did rely on those resets until this opened up. Love to see that kind of patience from a team like Iceni.
And you could see the body language and the facial expression of Vilek as she reeled that one in. Just the relief of that point being over. So Iceni 10, Fusion 9. Timeout is being called. Give the players a bit of a rest. Fusion have been so strong, certainly yesterday in the second half of all of their matches, bringing a very deep roster, though we've seen a lot of the same faces coming out for Fusion, likes of Aitken, Lee, Seaman, Valence Arena. You almost think perhaps they should take Valence Arena off the pitch for a little while to stop that matchup with Sophie Wharton, who's been doing a phenomenal job of keeping her basically out of the play.
Yeah, she really has been very silent so far in this game. Interesting timeout look here from Fusion as well. As you can see, they've got the O-line on their own, down on the line, having their own discussion, and the team together, maybe a discussion about how they can help on the sideline, things that they can say to shut down some of those break looks that Iceni is putting up right now.
So both teams now will need to dig deep and see if they can stretch ahead in this vital game. Iceni will with the pull. Quite a relatively short pull into this wind. It's currently blowing right to left, gently at the moment, just caressing. Might see that pick up as Aitken gets up into the sky. Throws her inside shot of her own, but that is gonna tail out of the hands of number 29, Kaya Seaman. So Cooper will get things back in play. She's gonna put a shot immediately up for Jackie Verrills. Look at the closing speed of those two players. They are both catching it at the same time.
I think Valence Arena thought she got to that one first as well, and she was pointing back, and now she's saying no contest. So looks like the disc will stay here in the number 9 shirt.
We're talking about Valence Arena having a matchup with Sophie Wharton, but I am absolutely loving the work of Valence Arena and Verrills. That's more of a dogfight for sure.
It's two very similar players there, Hannah.
Yes, and very similar stature as well, which is always nice to see. Puts it out in front of Cooper, and that is a break of score for Iceni, the second time in this half, taking it now 11-9 with 30 minutes left on the clock.
And we're seeing now the biggest lead that the Iceni has had since that very first 2 points of the game. They went up 2-0. Fusion did not let them go away, so it'll be great to see how they respond to this. They're gonna have to do it quickly. Down 11-9 now. Iceni in the driver's seat of this game.
So Iceni, as you say, with their hands on the scruff of the neck of this game. Score currently 11-9. We'll be back with more action after this.
Do you want to avoid overuse injuries? Cross-train. Get your exercise routine out of a routine and mix it up with a variety of activities. Your muscles, tendons, and joints will thank you later.
Welcome back here to this women's elimination play game. We have Iceni of Great Britain versus Fusion of Canada. And Iceni taking charge in this second half. 2 breaks up, 11-9 the score. And Becky, if you're a Fusion right now, what are you saying to the players on that line?
think I'm at this point reminding Fusion where we started this game. Started down 2-0. They very quickly got themselves back involved in the game. They've got to settle down a bit on their offense. They're making their own mistakes rather than allowing Iceni to force the defensive plays. They're causing a few drops. They're throwing things away. If they're going to turn it over, credit to Iceni for making defensive plays, but right now Fusion is making their own mistakes, Hannah.
Costly errors throughout this match from Fusion. Disappointing to see frustration all over your face, Becky, in this booth as you wear your heart on your sleeve. But of course, neither team are favored by all of us. We just want to see the best women's ultimate that these two teams have available. As we see Iceni smothering cuts downfield. Big shot's going to have to go up. But good separation. Seaman is going to rip it up. Two big throws. Kovac's backside of the end zone. And that is a great hold. Love some bailout throws. We complimented those earlier, Becky. They've been very effective considering the stall count.
Yeah, they have, and this is the beautiful thing that this team is able to do. They know their receivers and they know their throwers. So in this case, Seaman, recognizing that it's a late stall count, starts her strike cut early to be open for that bailout option.
And what a bailout it is. Letitia Seaman focusing and knowing that the stall count's getting high, and that's one of the credits to this Fusion offense. They're paying attention and know when they need to go deep to bail out their handlers. So 11-10, still very much anyone's game to win, as we have 26 minutes remaining on the clock. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this one go to full time and perhaps beyond with these two evenly matched sides.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there as well. We've seen a game of runs here too. 2 breaks at the start for Iceni. Fusion answered back a little bit later on with the 2 breaks of their own. So time for them to find a response.
We'll see. Iceni off to the races, looking very fluid in this point. Finds Cooper with a nice move. Gainey with space and a great take. And an easy high release backhand into the hands of Yen So.
Love the energy there from Iceni as they celebrate this point as well. They look like they're very sure of their capabilities to win this game. Throwing in a little bit of that excitement and making these catches under pressure as well, and knowing that they are the team that are coming down with those 50-50 balls right now. That is a very valuable thing to have confidence in going into the final stages of this game.
Inspirational offense from Iceni. And we've got some fans on the stream. Sally Moore saying inspiring the next generation, enjoying the stream and posting up a beshirted young individual. Don't know if that's perhaps one of the players on the field's son or daughter, but certainly glad to have you with us, Sally. And they'll be delighted to see Iceni looking strong as we see Captain Fiona Kwan ready to take the pool. Score currently sitting at 12-10 to the players in white. So Fusion, vertical stack, looking a little bit tired as they jog downfield. Very late start to these cuts. Valence Arena finds Kovacs. Good cut line from Seaman, but Kovacs doesn't like the look of it. Centers instead to Lee. Around to Valence Arena. Nice inside to Kovacs, far side of the line. Again, things looking a little static from Fusion. It's going to be a well-reeled-in grab from Lee. Pick call upfield, didn't affect that throw.
Yeah, and you can see right now Fusion's stack is so far away from the thrower too. That disc had to be swinged so far back in order for Lee to get open. Fusion are gonna have to adapt to this very quickly.
And there's yells from the sideline. Coach Mark Lloyd commanding the stack that they must move faster. And there's a big throw into space. Valencerina tries all she can, sending the grass flying, but unable to keep that one alive. So Iceni now with the opportunity to take yet another break in this second half. That'll be their third on the board. As we see Millet coming under. Block out in wide in space. Randy Burns very free in the middle of the field. Very fast receiver for the Iceni side. Can't find much in the way of a reset, but eventually gets Comenda. Wharton far side to Milek. Just jamming it down that far sideline. He needs to find the reset, does in the likes of Comenda. Lefty, high backhand release. Tries the inside shot, but there'll be a foul call.
Yeah, Catherine Poren going in for the hand block there. Hard to tell from our angle whether contact was made with the disc or an arm first. We're gonna get a second look at it here. See Comenda with a lefty high release backhand into Kwok.
That's the second time we've seen that connection in a slow-mo replay. It's been fantastic to see those two players connecting with each other. Good isolation cutting from Wharton, but shut down by Valencerina most effectively. Kwan into Milek. Everyone on the field in the near sideline. And there we see Cameron Kwok reeling in the score, and that is yet another break in this second half, Becky. Iceni now but 2 points away from taking this game away from Canada's Fusion.
Heat illness strikes kids and adults alike during summer workouts. Watch for muscle cramps, fever, nausea, headache, weakness, or feeling faint. Act fast to get cool and get fluids.
We have Iceni of London versus Fusion of Canada in this women's elimination game. Currently, Iceni, the Warriors, leading the charge, 13-10. Just had an excellent second half. 3 breaks up currently, as Fusion desperately need to respond with an offensive hold. As we see some new faces on the field resting their O-line perhaps. Iceni with a zone look. Passes being counted on the sideline. Perhaps we'll see a transition to match coverage shortly. Penetrates through the middle. That's an excellent shot. And a big ripper backhand to Sarah Norton, but it's going to fly far too far. Karen Hatch with an adventurous play, but unfortunate execution.
Yeah, and the separation there for Norton. She had about 10 yards on her defender, but that disc, just not enough spin, not enough love on it. Didn't sit up into space. It just died into the ground, unfortunately, there for Hatch.
And that's a shame to not see them execute that, having caught the defense sleeping. Joyce Kwok clearing away. And that's going to be scooped up by Yenso, possibly. No, just too far. An excellent defensive pressure as we see Yenso calling an injury. Hopefully she'll be all right. It's okay. No limbs coming off the pitch, just taking a breather after a little bit of contact with the ground and her defender. But fantastic. Take back the disc off it, defense from Fusion. With a very short field now to punch one in.
And sometimes at this point in the game, this is when your defensive line coming out on offense can be such an advantage for you. This is the unit that is able to get that disc back once you do turn it over. So full credit to this decision here by Fusion.
And we've seen some very nice offense indeed from Fusion's D-line. You see some furious handler movement out in front of Snyder. That's going to go into the ground. And Karen Hatch with another error in this game, throwing this cue. So Iceni, another opportunity for a break. They've got low downfield, double coverage, but well taken and read. Good body positioning with Casey Hunt really getting in the mixer. Commander barrels right on the end zone line and sinks it in the middle to Joyce Kwok, the number 2. Hands in the air, a 4th break of score in this second half, Becky. First match point to come. Iceni of London look to be very dominant right now. Do you think, Becky, Canada's Fusion can find anything in the tank?
I mean, it would have to be pretty magical at this point if they can. Iceni dominating that deep space, dominating those undercuts as well. It's a matter of inches, but they're getting to everything first, and that is the difference maker. They look like they want the disc a little bit more than Fusion right now. They're excited after all these points. They're pumped up. I don't know at 14-10 how you stop that kind of momentum now.
Well, I think you have to stop the momentum by going and putting in your offensive hold cleanly. If Fusion can come out the blocks, they've rested their O-line in that last point, so D-line have a shot, see what you can do. It's a very deep squad, but we have been seeing the same faces over and over. They're going to be tired. Iceni have been able to roll through their roster looking a bit more confident.
Yeah, that being said, Iceni's roster is just a little bit smaller here than Fusion's as well.
That is true.
So rolling through the roster, maybe meaning a little bit of difference for these two teams. But that being said, they've managed to play those players, and they don't look like they're getting tired, whereas Fusion is starting to hang their heads a little bit here, Hannah.
Indeed, and Claire Baker there looks very awake as she runs down the ball in front of the rest of her teammates. Commander on the mark. As we see Valence Arena with the disc in hand, now no longer matched up by Sophie Wharton, but Becca Jones, the rookie this year. Disc going up, that's a lovely put indeed, but Karen Kwok coming in with piles of pressure. And Carmen Lee's gonna tumble to the ground. Disc very far in front. So you see that put go up once more. I like that option, Becky, but just, I think the pressure of the streaming Kwok, it's a Kwok attack, just puts her off.
Yeah, sometimes that pressure on your back, it's very hard to stay calm and follow the disc into your hands when that person is running down your back like that.
You see Carmen Lee coming off the field, being replaced by the number 49 shirt of Karen Hatch. As Iceni's D-line have their first opportunity to take this game and advance to face off with Revolution of Columbia. Captain Fiona Kwan fakes the big put. Finds Karen Kwok in the middle of the field. Milek in acres of space, but they're gonna overthrow her. Who on earth was asleep on Milek?
I think that's very lucky for Fusion for that not to have worked out for Iceni. That absolutely should have been 100% catch there as well. That throw from Kwok, maybe just getting a little too excited, seeing Milek wide open near the end zone.
Well, we had a similar situation but a few points ago when Iceni were playing zone and there was an overthrow there. So one apiece as we see Fusion running down the disc far sideline. Great work there from Seaman. Oh, a bit of confusion. Aitken's going to call a foul. They'll have a discussion with Commander. It's going to be contested. Fusion now must be desperate generate some magic on offense. Seaman to Poran, who's going to put it up and over the top of the intended target. Court cleans up, but there's a foul on the call perhaps, or pit call.
And that's unfortunate there for Poran as well. She's had a very good game. She's been very consistent. I think that's one of the first turnovers we've seen from her, and an unfortunate point of the game for that to happen.
And we see a miscue from Iceni, giving Fusion the disc back and the opportunity to keep this game alive as we come to the business end of this match. Disc up into space for Valence Arena, lovely take. Nice reset to Seaman. Finds Valence Arena again. Iceni doing a great job of holstering the offense. Attempt to toe it in, but doesn't need to. Throws the around backhand to Seaman for the score. And Fusion keep the dream alive 1 point longer with 12 minutes left on the clock.
I think it's interesting to see how Valence Arena as well has shifted more into this handler role here for Fusion. They've taken her out of the cutting lanes. Iceni has shut her down all game. Finally now she's adjusting, and we're seeing her come out in this game at 14-11.
But will it be too little, too late for the Canadian side? As we see Iceni stride down to the left side of the field. A little bit of a dance moves displayed. Captain Karina Cooper there is Mark Lloyd, the coach for Fusion. He's going to be giving some sage advice for his players right now. Just keeping it simple was the name of the game when we spoke to him ahead of this match. All about making small adjustments to the basics of defense, taking something away and letting the offense speak for itself. But Iceni seemed to have managed to throw a spanner in the works of that offense. As we'll see their first O-line opportunity to seal out this game. And an immediate overthrow from Hannah Brew into the wind. Snyder on the disc. Up-flying cut from Hatch. Great speed from the Fusion offense of their D-line. Smothering cuts and a high stall throw. I've been complimenting Fusion's high stall throws all game long, but that close to the end zone, you can't put it into the deep space because there is none. Cooper puts out into space from Hannah Brew. Fakes the big put, finds Hannah Body alone in the center of the field. To Lowe. She's going to put it up for Catherine Gainey. It's going to be tipped and it's going to be scored. Iceni find the magic 15-11, and you can see the dismay of the defense as she realizes her error. And the elimination bracket so lethal, Becky.
And that, for me there, Hannah, sums up the difference maker of this game between Iceni and Fusion. In the second half, Iceni just looked like they wanted the disc a little bit more, and that goes to show with that, chasing down the disc after it's been touched by the defense as well. Credit to both teams here. They've really grinded it out. Not a clean game, lots of athletic plays, but Iceni just wanting it a little bit more here, Hannah.
It was all about the second half of this match, Becky. Even on the breaks, 3 apiece first half, but that 4 breaks of score for Iceni second half. Just Fusion almost rolling over in the end. Couldn't quite finish it out. It was a grinder to begin with, but Iceni, the veteran team, so much World Club experience on that side, but talent across the field. And what a way to finish. So let's have a look at some of the highlights of this match.
Great play here from Snyder to run on to that disc. We will see Iceni face off against Revolution now in the pre-quarters. Iceni just in control throughout this game. A beautiful grab there.
But it's definitely been a game of inches all the way through. You see Denniston rip it out the sky. It's been a pleasure to be here on the stream with you this morning. Stay tuned for plenty more action. I've been Hannah Pendlebury.
And I've been Becky Thompson.
We'll see you again very, very soon.
Catch it early. Help us teach kids about cancer symptoms through Ultimate Frisbee clinics. Join us and speak up.